Welcome to the Minigunner Penitentiary. It's been reworked in this update. Is it buffed or is it nerfed? Actually, from the looks of things, it just looks like it's just a basic rework. So let's go review it. So starting off, its base price when you place it down has increased or decreased, sorry, from 2,000 to 1,850. However, to compensate for this, the fire rate has increased from 0.14 to 0.15, therefore making the minigunner shoot slower. However, the rev up time has actually decreased from 1.5 to 1.4, so the 0.1 has been transferred over from the rev up time to the fire rate, even though the fire rate is significantly more significant than the rev up time. I know significantly more significant kinda doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. However, this is all to compensate for the fact that the minigunner now has increased range. Instead of 13 range, it now has 15 range. Very cool. Also, unlike the golden minigunner, the minigunner doesn't have a placement limit. It didn't get one in this rework, and it didn't have one before this rework. So if you want the freedom of the 40 tower limits, I guess the minigunner is better than the golden minigunner, but I don't really see it like that. In any case, because of the change of the fire rate, the DPS has actually decreased from 13.51 to 12.66. However, the cost efficiency has decreased slightly, so a lower cost efficiency is better. So the cost efficiency has decreased from 148.04 to 146.13. Now, of course, these changes are all to compensate for the fact that the minigunner now has larger range. So the fact that cost efficiency has also slightly decreased is actually a bonus. Meanwhile, for level 1, the upgrade cost has decreased from 950 to 400. Therefore, the total price or the total cost of the minigun up to this level has decreased from 2,950 to 2,250. However, at this level, the damage has actually decreased from 3 to 2, but the fire rate has actually been compensated, so it's no longer 0.14, it is now 0.12. Furthermore, the the rev up time has actually changed from 1.25 to 1.2, a slight 0.05 decrease. Now, I doubt there's any enemies early on that can actually stun any enemies, apart from maybe something on fallen mode, but the minigunner now means that it's less affected by stuns from enemies because its rev up time is ever so slightly smaller. I mean, it's not the biggest change in the world, but it's a change nevertheless. The overall change is that the DPS has actually decreased by 25% from 20.27 to 15.63. But the cost efficiency, because of the price decrease, has actually decreased, which is better, from 145.54 to 143.95. Again, the main thing for this is that its range has increased from 13 to 15 at this level, which is why the DPS has actually decreased, but the cost efficiency is like about the same. Like, these aren't major changes to cost efficiency, it's around middling the same. But the fact that its range has increased while keeping a similar cost efficiency is actually a good thing. Now, I should quickly upgrade to level 2, because at this level you get hidden detection. It still keeps hidden detection at this level, which is cool. At this level, the damage of the minigunner has actually decreased from 5 to 3, which is no bueno, but because of the fire rate changes previously, it has changed from 0.14 to 0.12. However, the major change at this level is the fact that the range has increased massively from 14 to 18. The rev up time is decreased from the previous level from 1.25 to 1.2. So, even though the rev up time isn't included in the DPS has actually kind of fallen off a cliff because of the damage change. So it's changed from 33.78 to 23.44, and the cost efficiency has actually changed from 153.94 to 159.98, a slight increase. Therefore, that's worse cost efficiency wise, but it's barely an increase. Now, the reason why the cost efficiency is nearly the same is because the total price has actually decreased massively from 5,200 to 3,750 because of the upgrade cost decreasing from 2,250 to 1,500. Now, this makes the minigunner no longer like a late mid-game tower. It's more an early mid-game tower. In fact, you can probably shoo it into the early game. In fact, because of the changes, it actually is quite an effective hidden defense tool. Because it's so cheap, well, I wouldn't say cheap necessarily, but it's effective with its DPS and cost efficiency against hidden enemies. So if you could try and shoehorn in the minigunner to counter the hidden wave enemies, then yeah, that works. Not the hidden wave enemies, the hidden enemies on that specific wave for whatever game mode you're doing it on. Meanwhile, as for level 3, the damage has decreased from 10 to 7, a 30% decrease. However, the fire rate has changed from 0.12 to 0.1. The rev up time has actually increased from 0.75 to 1, so you're swapping around the fire rates here, so I don't know, fire rates and the rev up time. However, the range has actually increased from 14 to 18 at this level because of the previous change at level 2. Meanwhile, as the upgrade cost has actually remained the same at 7,000, the total cost has actually decreased from 12,200 to 10,750. Therefore, meaning that the cost efficiency has actually increased a lot from 156.15 to 165.87. However, the fact that its range has actually increased by from 14 to 18, probably a good thing. And certainly counterbalances the fact that the DPS has decreased from 78.13 to 64.81. I take that over the fact that the minigunner has increased range. Because bearing in mind that a larger range means the DJ booth can take advantage of that increased range a lot better. Certainly is the case for range flags and UAVs. Now, it seems like the developers are actually counterbalancing the fact that they've decreased the ranges in previous reworks for the minigunner. But because of the slight cost efficiency uptick, it does seem like level 2 minigunner spam is the way to go. Anyway, as for level 4, the upgrade cost has actually increased from 15,000 to 17,500, meaning that the total price of the minigunner for level 4 has actually increased from 27,200 to 28,250. However, actually, the damage hasn't actually changed. It remains the same at 17, and the fire rate remains the same at 0.1. But, more significantly, the range of the minigunner has changed from 15 to 20. This means that the minigunner has kind of remained the same as it was previously. It's just that it's got increased range, an increase of like 15, which is what? A 33% increase, which is pretty significant. All for the same DPS. The DPS has remained the same at 157.141. The only thing that has changed is the rev up time has increased from 0.75 to 1, so it's more vulnerable to stuns, but only barely. Only 25% increase in rev up time, and the total price has increased slightly from what, 27,200 to 28,250. What, that's like 1,050 increase. Yeah, that's barely anything. So the minigunner overall quite good, and do bear in mind that the minigunner does not have a placement limit. Now, because it doesn't have a placement limit, I've seen some people say that the golden minigunner is worse than the regular minigunner. Not really. Minigunner does pack more DPS compared to the regular minigunner, and cost efficiency wise, the golden minigunner is slightly better than the minigunner at all levels. It's just that for the last level for the minigunner, its upgrade is actually way more expensive. And now technically, yes, that means that if you have more than 24 minigunners, they are going to perform slightly better than the 12 golden minigunners. That is the limit at. However, do bear in mind that having less towers is kind of a good thing. Like, you don't, if you need to sell these towers to move to the back, having 12 minigunners, golden minigunners, compared to I don't know how many minigunners, 24 at least, is going to be less painful. Additionally, having space for other towers, for example, the Ranger, the Commander, DJ booth, whatever like that, is more pertinent in other game modes where you have less people. So in solo, it might be the case that the minigunner could be better than the golden minigunner because you can spam a lot of minigunners, whereas in, say, quad mode, when you can only have 20 towers, the minigunner can't actually compare to the golden minigunner because you're never going to get up, like 20 minigunners, assuming you don't even bring any other towers, is not going to compare to the 12 golden minigunners that you could have brung. It needs to be contextualized compared to the gamer that you're playing it on. But that does not mean that the minigunner is a bad tower by any means. It is a good tower. It's just that I'd say the minigunner and the golden minigunner occupy slightly different niches, but overall, they're about performance the same-ish.